thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. From some evil? From all evil he shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and forevermore. The love that never disappoints. Loving Father and God, as we go to your word, speak to us in clear tones. There's somebody been seeking solution all week. I pray that we do not climax today's service without every person receiving an ultra significant blessing, deliverance. You know, families have been praying, oh God, may we find solution in this word today. In Jesus' name, let all say. Take your mind with me to this psalm as David composed Psalm 121 in the wilderness of Paran. Immediately after learning of the death of Samuel, according to Patriots and Prophets, page 664. David could not be present at the burial of Samuel. You know who Samuel was, right? But he mourned for him as deeply and tenderly as a faithful son could mourn for his father. He knew that Samuel's death had broken another bond of restraint from the actions of Saul. And he felt less secure than when the prophet was alive. You see, the prophet Samuel provided somewhat of a protection for David from Saul. But now Samuel is dead, Saul has greater access to torment David. So while the attention of Saul was engaged in mourning, Saul was mourning the death of Samuel, David took the opportunity to go to a more secure place. So he fled into the wilderness of Paran. David could not stick around for the funeral. That morning time, David fled. He wrote this psalm with the awareness that the prophet was dead and the king was his enemy. The prophet was dead, and the king was his enemy. The king was his enemy, and the prophet was dead. Prior to this death, Samuel stood as an influence that limited Saul. Are you with me, church, as we build a platform? Samuel limited Saul's aggression, but now Samuel is dead. Now that Samuel is dead, Saul's attacks will now intensify. Now that Samuel is dead, Saul will become an angry mercenary, if you please. Now that Samuel is dead, Saul will pursue David. Now that Samuel is dead, Saul will attack David. At this point, the one who God used to assign and anoint David is no longer around to encourage him, to support him, to affirm him, to secure him, to endorse his leadership. Imagine that Samuel anointed David, and now when David is now trying to catch his wit, Samuel goes and dies. It is important to note today, my friends, that those who helped you in the past, let's take this somewhere, those who helped you in the past may be absent when the pressure is most intense in your life. Do I have a witness in the house? Those people who helped you in the past may be absent when the pressure is most intense in your life's experience, not necessarily because they're dead like Samuel. They might not have died like Samuel, but your challenge has outgrown their ability to help. By this I mean when you're a school child and somebody gives you a little raise. Are you with me, somebody? It means a whole lot because your budget is really books and pencils and probably a little shoe. But then you grow and you're planning for a wedding. Now imagine somebody would give you 20 US when you're in primary school. And you felt good about it. Do we have any primary school children in the house? And so, that was such a good amount. And then you get into secondary school, they still give you 20. The person loves you as much as they loved you when you were in primary school. Then you get into college and you meet the one and you're planning a big wedding. And they show up with a 20 US contribution towards your wedding. And then you're dealing with building and the bank and mortgage and the loan, and that person shows up with a nice 20. Are you with somebody? You see, that 20 meant a lot to you when you were in primary school. But now you're dealing with the bank. It's not that you're ungrateful, but your economic and budgetary demands have outgrown that kind of help. Are you with me, somebody? And so I'm saying to you that in your life experience, you would recognize that there are people who once helped you in the past, but they can't help you any longer, not because they don't love you, not because they're dead, but your problem has gotten so big, your trial has gotten so big, life has so many demands that they can no longer help. And so they're not necessarily dead, but it's just that your situation has outgrown their ability to help. The Bible says that the devil knows he has a short time, and in the last day he rages against the children of God. Understand that in the last days it will be pressure on the Christian many times. We're in a period of Earth's history where the enemy is relentlessly resourced. You heard what I said? He is relentlessly resourced to launch his most potential assaults against you. The enemy has the resources he needs, hear me now, to wear you right down. He has the home court advantage. It's like when there's a cricket match or a basketball match. When you're playing in your hometown, all your friends and everybody, they're there to cheer. Do we have any sportsmen in the house? Any cricketers in the house? When you go to play on the opponent's side, they will boo you. But when you come home and you batting in Anguilla from Anguilla, you'd be somebody. You call it the home advantage. Well, in the context of salvation, I'm saying that the enemy is using a home court advantage. He has the most fans in the crowd. The enemy has made life a real struggle. He has the movies on his side, young people. He has the entertainment industry on his side. And so you're young and you're looking for a good movie and you're seeking to be decent. But Hollywood will pump out more bad than good. He has fashion on his side. Are you with me, somebody? You're trying to buy a decent dress, and it's as if you gotta be hunting, looking for a needle in a haystack. You're trying to buy a decent garb, and it is more indecent than decent. Are you with me, somebody? I'm saying that the enemy has a home court advantage. He is using social media. Now I always like to underscore that social media in itself is not bad, but most times what people do and the time they spend there, it's bad. He has a home court advantage. He has social media. He has difficult people. Satan has some difficult people he will put in your way. You will be on your job and all is going well, and probably a new manager comes or a new leader comes that makes life difficult. You may have a colleague at work that makes life difficult. Listen, the enemy, he has so much to work with against you. He will bring some difficult people in your way. Even difficult people in the church, but that's not what I'm talking about today. He will use wicked minds in the world. He has, listen, the thing about Satan, he has knowledge of your past shortcomings. He has knowledge of your past weaknesses. He knows that some of you were into some stuff. He has knowledge of your past. He has knowledge of your weakness. And so he studies it and he launches his attack just to come to you. Are you listening to me today? Satan will design a plan just to attack you. What he throws at me is differently designed. What he throws at you is differently designed. Satan has the home court advantage, and his plan is to wear you down. While he is aware of your strengths and your great potential, he also understands your vulnerabilities and your insecurities. Like a lion, you know how the lion hunts? The lion looks for the weak. He capitalizes and preys on your limitation and your frailty. He wounds you on the weak side. He attacks you on the weak side. If you look at how the lions operate, you know, they pump fear into the heart of the prey, and the slowest bull would be eaten. The slowest, are you with me, somebody? The slowest gazelle will be eaten. Lions, they prey on the weak. And Satan, who is like a lion, he studies you. He looks to see what is your weakness. What is Brother Tom's weakness? What is Brother John's weakness? What is Brother Smith's weakness? What is Brother Harry's weakness? He studies you. He wants to find your weak spot. What is the pathfinder's weakness? What is the adventurer's weakness? He studies you, and when he finds it, he comes in strong. He's looking to see how he can get in your family. Heard me, somebody? He's checking every door, every window. If he can't come through you, he comes through your wife. If he can't come through your wife, he comes through a child. If he can't come through are you with me, somebody? And he's knocking all around. The devil is looking for weak spots in your home, weak spots in your church. He comes around your church, and you're seeing which leader is compromising, which leader is weak, which leader is argumentative. Are you with me, somebody? And when he finds that argumentative leader, and he brings that leader to board, are you with me, somebody? The whole board in shambles. Not here in Anguilla. In other parts, heard me, somebody? That doesn't happen on this pretty little island. But I'm saying Satan will come around a congregation, and he would look for the weak ones. He will look for the women who are weak to seduce the men who are trying to be strong. He will look for the men who are weak to seduce the women who are trying to be strong. And so not because you're in church, you're safe. He comes like a predator, and he tries to connect you. Are you with me, somebody? He tries to connect you sometimes to people that can bring you down. Can I preach like I feel it? I'm suggesting to you that he studies you. He understands what you're looking at, what's in your mind, what propensities and proclivities you have. He studies you. And when he comes in, it's to destroy you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this stage of your life, you probably can identify with David. You can really do it as Samuel in your life right now, who could help you on the bumpy road. Am I speaking to somebody? You probably could identify with David right now. You wish a Samuel could come and help you in your family. You wish a Samuel could come along and help you with your school. You wish a Samuel could come along and bless your finances. There might be somebody in the house. You can identify with David. You wish that the help that came from Samuel in the past. You wish there could be someone who could help you navigate at the road of life. Someone who could help you to get to your desired destination. Very often we look for Samuel in our jobs. Heard me, somebody? And so I get a good job, it will help me now. Sometimes we look for Samuel in our relationships. Are you with me, somebody? You find a man and you're going to invest all your life in him. You feel like that man is your deliverer. That doesn't happen in Anguilla. But there's some women in other places, you find a man, you want to leave church or not. Heard me, somebody? And you want to invest everything in that man. As if that's your deliverer. I finally got a man. Sorry, I'm really being misbehaved today. Or you got a relationship, a woman, she's not probably even godly, but you're just happy to get somebody. Heard me, somebody? And there's some people who are desperate to just find a Samuel to help them out. Are you listening to me today? Because you believe that a relationship can really make you that person, and you put all your investment in the relationship. Some people go to friends. Some young people think by getting popular, are you with me, somebody? That's the way out. If everybody can know me, if I can get so many likes and followers on Instagram, on Insta, if I can get followers on TikTok, are you with me, somebody? If my videos can get following, I am better, I'm more popular. And so you're looking to TikTok for help, you're looking to Insta for help, are you with me, somebody? Because you believe that in friendships. However, you're reminded that Samuel is dead. Your problem has outgrown the capacity of other people. The things that once offer help can't help. You go to the counselor, but the counselor can't help. You come to Pastor Smith can't help. You come to the doctors and the teachers, and the teachers can't help. You go to the lecturers and employers, the employers can't help. The road is rough. You go to your spouse, and your spouse can't help. You're crying all night. You're fighting with it. You go to their children. They love you, but now life has gotten so big. The problem has gotten so big. Probably you're sick. You're not who you're supposed to be. So your children, they love you, but they lack the capacity to help you. Are you listening to me today? The road is rough. You go to your boyfriend you adore. You go to your girlfriend you adore, but you realize that that boyfriend or the girlfriend can't help. The road is rough. You go to your soldiers on the street. You turn to your friends and you realize your friends can't help. The road has gotten too rough. You go to the money in your bank and you decide to take a vacation, and you say, I'm going to spend some money to feel better, but you spend all that money and the problem not gone, because money can't help. The road is rough. You go to modern medicine, you go to traditional medicine, and none seem to work. It can't help. Too far gone. Finally, you think you got the help you need, and then you realize that even that can't solve your problem. There is no help. There is no help. There is no help. At this time, Samuel is dead, and that is why David, he looked all around and he decided to declare that while there's no help all around, he says, my help comes from the Lord. When nothing else can help, he can help. The Lord can help. You just need to understand, like that man at the pool of Bethesda, for 38 years, nothing happened. But when Jesus showed up, what couldn't happen in 38 years happened immediately. The people around you can't help, but Jesus can. And so David goes into a big motion where he is now bigging up God. He says, listen, he never slumber nor sleeps. In other words, he is saying that, it's a kind of personification to suggest that the Lord never loses control. In fact, the possibility of losing control with God is zero. People may lose control, but God doesn't lose control. You may lose control, but God doesn't lose control. Presidents and governments may lose control. Premiers may lose control, but God doesn't lose control. The rulers of this world, they think they're in control, but they're not in control. God doesn't lose control. Listen to me, you may feel like life has gone out of control. Addictions out of control. Broken relationships and suffering and tensions out of control. The lack of finances out of control. I want to suggest to you today that when life goes out of control, there is one who is always in control. When I call on Jesus, all things are possible. Ladies and gentlemen, would you be free from your burdens and sin? There is power in the blood. Power in the blood. Will you still daily a victory win? There is wonderful power in the blood. When everything else is gone, Jesus will remain. Could we have a teaching moment? not misunderstand what the psalmist is saying. At no point he's expressing confidence in the hills. You know, we say, I will lift up mine eyes to the hills. In the historical context in which the psalm is sung, Psalm 121 is part of a hymn book of psalms that the pilgrims use when going to Jerusalem. Ellen White Page, Prophets and Prophets 5:38, informs us that as they saw around them the hills where the heathen had been wont to kindle their altars and fires, the children of Israel sang. So they will be going to Jerusalem. Are you with me, church? Could we have a teaching moment? They'll be going to Jerusalem, and on their way to Jerusalem, the heathens will have all these shrines on the hill, gold and silver, false gods. And so the Israelites will say, it was a question, will I lift up mine eyes to the hills? From whence cometh my help? Are you seeing it? It's not a statement in the Hebrew, it's a question. Will I lift up mine eyes to the hills, to the shrines? No. My help comes from the Lord. It comes from Jehovah. In fact, a proper look, Theodore Benza, June 24, 1519, October 13 to 1605, was a French theologian. He clearly points out that in Israel, the mountains were the places where pagan practices were prominent and illegitimate worship was conducted. That's why in Jeremiah 3:23 it says, truly in vain is salvation hoped for in the hills. Jeremiah 3:23. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for in the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. Now in essence I'm saying that these heathens use shrines and they erect all kinds of nice things as a symbol of prosperity and security. And so the Israelites were tempted to question themselves. Are you with me, somebody? The enemies had gold shrines, and so this kind of material prosperity for the heathen was a symbol of success. And so what this psalm is saying, there is great danger in attributing divine favor to the presence of material things. So not because you bought a yacht, it means that God is with you. You can build 2 Hilton hotels. It doesn't mean that God is with you. If having things means that you're right, when this is done, truth is narrowed down to material prominence and physical well-being. There are some people who are physically well and strong, but they are godless. When we measure God based on finance, it becomes difficult to witness to others when we are broke. When we measure God based on health and fertility, it's difficult to witness when we get sick. God shall not be confined to the standards of the heathens. That's all I'm saying. The heathen found security in things that are prominent and shrines, as if that was not enough. The moon and the sun, they believed that the moon and the sun was on their side. So what the psalmist is saying, that his God is above the hills. I want you to see the picture now as we bring this together. What he's really saying is that his God is above the hills. The hills can't touch. Then he said the moon can't smite the either, because his God is above the moon. And the sun can't touch because his God is above the sun. So when you are looking to the hills for a God, that's not my God. My God is above the hills. He is above the moon. He is above the sun. He's the God of the universe. He will never lose control. Let's wrap this together. In other words, he is boasting security. For this reason, the psalmist built a case for security found in God. He boldly stated, for this reason, that he will bring us safely. The psalmist is not referring to God's ability here in the external creation. He's saying the psalmist uses what is referred to as contra nihilium creation. This is creation that protects. The creator who protects. And let me bring this together now. Let me just close this whole thing down. You see, Psalm 121 is a bold statement that God loves you so much that you cannot be disappointed. If you go to this psalm, there's one word used 6 times. The word used 6 times is shamar. In 8 verses, this psalm has 8 verses, Pastor. And 6 times the psalmist used shamar. Shamar is a simple word that means keep. He said, he who keep you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forward forevermore. I want to bring this together now. We're finishing, we're wrapping this up now. A love that never disappoints. God loves you so much that he presents himself as the keeper. He's the one who keeps you. Now let's go to a game of cricket. You have a wicket keeper. Are you with me, somebody? And the first ball that passes the wicket, he keeps it like a star, boy. You clap. The next ball passes, he keeps it. The third ball that you're counting on, it passes and he misses it. How disappointing this is. It seems as if David knew about cricket. What David is saying, that if all 6 balls in the over, how many balls in the over? 6? Come on, gentlemen, talk to me, man. What David is saying, that if all 6 balls pass the wicket, none will pass the keeper. And so he places this word shamar 6 times. And what he is saying is that God is an excellent keeper in the context of protection. And so whatever ball the devil tried to throw at you, God will catch it. I want to go further and tell you that 6, 7 is God's number. But 6 is the number of man. And so what the psalmist is saying, that if there's any problem that a man has, if there's any human problem, you name it, once a human could have it, God can handle it. Once a human can have it, God can handle it. And so if a human has sickness, God can handle it. If a human has depression, God can handle it. If a human has trauma and fighting and anger, God can handle it. If a human has an addiction, God can handle it. If a human has fear, God can handle it. In other words, what the psalmist is saying, he loves you so much that he will never disappoint you. He can keep you in every trouble, keep you in every problem, keep you in every storm, keep you in every drama. God has the ability to keep. As somebody is saying, Pastor, what if I die? What if I die? Would God still keep me? I'm saying yes. Anything that can happen with a man or a woman, God